Hey everyone, welcome. I'm Aaron with Underdog Digital Marketing, and today I have with me my buddy Pat from No Fluff Funnels. So Pat's actually in a pretty unique industry. Why don't you go ahead and give us, I guess, a quick rundown on kind of what you do?
Basically, what I do is digital marketing specifically for social entrepreneurs, which, if you have no idea what that is, basically it's businesses that are trying to create a positive change in society.
So Pat and I have kind of been on this digital marketing journey for years now. So we've gone from a lot of copywriting conversions to what we do now, which is a lot of funnels and what do you? What's one of the issues I think you find with when you're dealing with a lot of the social entrepreneurs? What's one of the issues that they find that stops them from kind of moving forward in their business?
I think one of the main thing that kind of stops them is that because it's such a new business platform that they really are really far behind in terms of anything digital marketing. It's just like, oh, you have a Facebook page up, and you have a website, and then pretty much it just sits there, and everyone uses referral networks to get their
Yeah.
clients. So there's no really sort of digital client acquisition at all that I can really see.
And I know when Pat and I were talk about this a lot is that most nonprofits they run it completely different than a business, and the ones that actually do run it like a business are the ones that are able to generate bring in more money and actually make more of a difference. I think, you
Yeah.
know, is that kind of what you see?
Yeah, it's definitely what I see. I mean, in terms of the difference between like nonprofits and social entrepreneurs, kind of like a social entrepreneur is a for-profit, so they're shifting over. They're
Okay,
trying to shift over away from the nonprofit model,
why is that?
mainly because the nonprofit model, it's you have to constantly go for donors. So it kind of handcuffs you a little bit
Okay,
on the things you can do and the way you can earn money. So people started kind of shifting out and creating a hybrid model. But a lot of the nonprofits that are successful, if you look at like PETA, right? Like I
okay,
don't agree with that organization, but they really have got their stuff down. But a lot of the smaller nonprofits really haven't understood that it's a business yet. And I think that's the same thing that social entrepreneurs get stuck. They're stuck in still feeling like they're nonprofit because a lot of them worked in the nonprofit sector before to really embrace that. No, you're a business and you
yeah.
need to be able to generate more revenues.
So I think this is really cool because I've known Pat I've known you for a while
Five
now, for like
years
5 years now,
now.
and it's funny because Pat is well was and still is a boxer. So it's pretty funny when a lot of people in your community and your network and stuff like that, a lot of them just look at Pat as, oh, I'm the Pat's the boxer and stuff like that, not knowing that there's this huge side of this huge business side that Pat has, and I think that's actually pretty cool because you get the straight up jock
hmm
with the with the really intelligent person and stuff like that. So as you're moving forward and really guys trying to get this whole business ramped up, I mean, what are some of the issues that you find? I guess really trying to convey who you are to people. How hard is that?
Yeah, I definitely think it's hard because everyone just knows me. Oh, Pat, that's the boxer, right?
Yeah.
Like people will just say the boxer, right? I mean, I don't know if you can even see here. I've got like freaking black eye on my face.
Scoot closer to the camera. We'll see a
See
little
right, see
something.
right there. That's from a fight.
Yeah.
Um, and so people always think of that, and we have these, despite the fact that my niche is like, oh, we're thinking outside the box. They still are definitely stuck like, oh, jocks. This
Yeah.
isn't really their avenue. But I'm like, no, I'm actually really smart, and I'm a nerd clearly by my glasses and my polo shirt.
Obviously.
Clearly a nerd. And I'm just as passionate about digital marketing, and I really actually geek out on the strategy of it as I do boxing. And I think there's actually a lot of parallels between the sport and between actually being a digital marketer. So I think it's really trying to get people to see me as a professional who actually like knows his shit. Like I actually
Yeah.
know my shit. I'm not just and people know me as a personal trainer too. So they're like, oh, for any body stuff, I'll come to you. But they're not like, oh, like I never thought about client acquisition. But then when they hear me speak, they're like,
Yeah.
oh, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. And I think so Pat and I we talk every week quite a few times and kind of strategies and stuff like that. And one of the issues that we had was I believe a lot of them not knowing how to automate or how to really utilize social media to get an actual ROI. A lot of it is let me get likes, let's get this
Mm.
and that. What do you do that's kind of different, or what is your strategy on I guess helping companies like that to increase their ROI?
I mean, basically, I mean, I think a lot of people don't even know what an ROI is in social entrepreneurship. Most of them don't really have don't really put in that much thought into their revenue generation. I
Yeah.
think because they're so passionate about what they do for their job, like because their job is usually something about helping a big societal issue.
Yeah.
They throw themselves full force into that, not looking about like, okay, how can I sustain this as a business? How can I grow this as a business?
Yeah.
So I generally have to go like straight from the beginning. I'll be like, what's your ROI? And they'll be like, I actually don't know. I'll be like, what do you do for advertising? I actually don't. I am all off referral networks. So going in, they don't have anything. So I basically have to kind of start start from scratch and take what they have. The really cool thing about though this niche is they're incredibly smart, and they're incredibly smart and they're incredibly passionate, and everyone I've dealt with is also very well known in their industry.
Yeah.
So I've got this great like foundation to go with. I just kind of have to put in the basic fundamentals of like creating an actual business.
Yeah. So I know a lot of it. You mentioned they don't know what ROI is, a return on investment. So for every the money you put into something to get a return back, have you teach them like any of the other metrics? Trying to figure out their cost per leads, their cost per acquisitions, all this other stuff. I mean, what do you really try to do? I know you Pat does consulting as well as the whole funnels, actually building these funnels for sales systems and stuff to really help people get visitors from point A to point B and really help create the conversion. So I guess what is your what else? What other little things can you tell people, especially if they have no idea what ROI is? What else can you tell? What else can you share? Key metrics, I guess, just kind of like key metrics.
Yeah,
that maybe they want to know.
I mean, most of it's just really like cost per lead, cost per conversion. That's kind of like the main things I keep with. Because those are the main things that I think most people are really interested in.
Okay.
Is like if I'm spending money, especially because a lot of these people, their businesses aren't huge profit makers yet.
Right.
They're trying to pinch pennies. So it's got to be like, is this making me money back? And I want to be able to show them like, yes, this is actually, you're putting the money in and you're seeing it come back in actual like converting into clients.
Okay. Now, what's type of so we know that a lot of people, social media is huge. What you have any tips or anything like that on utilizing maybe like Facebook or any of the social media right now to help those businesses generate more revenue?
Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm definitely a huge fan of Facebook. My own social enterprise has been largely, it has been almost 100% Facebook.
Okay.
Like, let me be completely honest.
How? Like in what way?
I really started using Facebook targeting audiences, specifically like being able to create ads. I'm really, really good because I know my audience really, really well, which, by the way, if you don't know who your audience is, go back and do that right now, because it's going to save you so much headache in your whole business if you actually know your audience very, very well. And because I knew my audience, I've been able to, you saw some of the numbers I used to run on buffbutch.com, and I was making like 30-cent leads, stuff like that.
Cost per lead was actually 30. Some of them were, I think he had actually for a stretch was even cheaper than that.
Yeah.
So really depending on your product. If you have that's all about margin and stuff like that. So if you can get leads for really inexpensive leads that convert into sales and stuff like that, that's the pretty much the holy grail. That's where you're going to be able to make a lot of money doing whatever product or service you're pushing and stuff like that. So
yeah. And I'm gonna be honest, like I almost kind of like dumb luck stumbled into that because I was my audience and I knew them really well. And I really didn't know what I was doing at first, and was suddenly, I think the first time I ran, a personal training ad, I turned like $40 into $2,000 in a weekend, and was like, oh crap, this actually works. Like, and that's when I really started to move into this type of business, being like, if you know your audience and you know how to target them, and especially through Facebook, which I still think is the best one out there, there's no reason why you can't make money.
Yeah.
And especially from audiences that you wouldn't traditionally see, that you wouldn't think that you could capture. Like my audience was like queer and trans people, which are like, where do you even target them? I'm like, very easily on Facebook. So most of like that would be the market for a lot of the social entrepreneurs that I work with, and being like, no, you can actually find all these people that would be hard to reach in any other media platform. You can find them on Facebook.
Yeah. And to go back to knowing who your audience is, it's there's a lot of different reasons why. If you know who your audience is, like Pat, found out who knew who his audience was and knew exactly how to speak to them, what what words motivated them, what were they, what problems were they facing, how, what do they really want. It goes to any business. If you're in a plumber, if you're, it doesn't really matter what it is. If you know who your audience is, who's going to gravitate towards you, everything, all your advertising, all your marketing, all this stuff that we have up here, you can probably, all this stuff that we get is just going to be that much more powerful because you're writing and you're saying stuff that people are actually it's going to resonate with them, and that's what really I think creates trust and will make people want to buy from you or like your page or go to it or whatever it is. I think it's really powerful when you do that. So like Pat said, if you don't know who your audience is, you need to find out now because it's going to make everything else that you do for your marketing that much more powerful.
Yeah, you want your audience to almost be creeped out when they read your thing, be like, wow, did you just read my mind? Like, this just popped up randomly. I was having this thought. Like, you want them to feel like you're looking over their shoulder and you've, like, peeked into their mind and you found exactly what they want. And when you get those calls from potential clients being like, I called you because this resonated with me, like, then it's like, it's not only that you've made a sale, but I think especially from my angle, from people who want to do well in life and want to do good things and make positive impact, it suddenly becomes not a sale, but actually a service that's helping someone in life. And I think that's really important for my niche that are, again, trying to create this positive social change and thinking about like, oh, it's not about just making money. It's like I'm creating a product or service that is actually helping the life of someone else.
Yeah, really, like I said, really important, you and your audience. Now, when once you figure out really who your audience is, how do you, so with No Fluff Funnels, what are some of your services or products, or how do you take someone if they know their audience, to figure out who they are, what their mission is, and what they want to accomplish? What's your process, like, kind of during that whole thing?
Okay, like going through a consultation or something
Yeah, going
like
through
that.
a consultation. So say I'm a, social entrepreneur, I come up to you and I'm like, this is my business. How would you be able to really, help me and stuff? What would you be able to offer?
Well, generally, I try to find out, of course, always, like, not only do you know your audience, but, like, who is your actual dream client? I find a lot of people are like, this is my audience, but it's low income or it's not providing what they really want out of their business. So sometimes we actually have to tweak what their ideal, what their dream client is, and that's something that I've had to change too myself. So then when we go from there, it's really about, like I tell this to everyone, it's about getting the right offer in front of the right audience. So then it's about, once we know who the audience is, then really looking at the offer and being like, is that offer resonating specifically with that audience and why? And then working on, crafting the messages around how we're going to get these people to be really interested in your service, rather than just being like, I'm a personal trainer, but it's like, oh, I'm a personal trainer who specifically works on helping trans men be able to have the body that they've always felt but haven't been able to see in the mirror. That suddenly changes the product and makes it much more interesting and appealing to my specific audience.
I think a lot of it is on desires, is on really knowing your audience, reading who they are, what they want, and to accomplish stuff like that. So your funnels. So there's a lot, and funnels is actually probably one of the it's one of the industry like hot buzzwords right
it's a
now
buzzword
and stuff
right
like
now.
that. So not a lot of people kind of understand what a funnel is. And a funnel is just really the system of it's the system of getting finding someone to the whole process of finding them to taking to converting them, having them buy your product, and everything in between and everything after. So what do you do? What are some of your tools? What do you if you could tell, some of those social entrepreneurs right now, give them, maybe like one or two tips on really what should their sales funnel kind of look like. Is there anything you could kind of do with that? I know it's pretty broad.
Yeah,
but,
we could go on for hours about sales funnel strategy, but I think just like a basic what you can do, especially for people who are like, I really have no clue what I'm doing, is really focus on getting a lead and being able to capture it for long term. So rather than being like, oh, I'm just gonna throw my service out there, think about more about like, okay, you've got your possible audience client up here, and being able to attract them, like lure them into the funnel system, right? Okay. With some sort of free or low cost,
like candy or something.
Yeah, like basically like, here's some free candy. Kind of lure them in into the funnel with like something that they would really like. So maybe they're like, well, I don't like
We're
candy.
probably not gonna get people. Probably not gonna like that.
I mean, that's honestly what it is. Let's say not lure. Okay, let's say that someone's like, man, I'm really hungry, and be like, I got a slice of pizza. How about that?
Yeah.
Rather than luring someone in, you're being like, here, I'm actually offering a solution to your problem right now, with nothing in exchange. Just come over here real quick so we can talk. Is that a little bit better?
That's better. So,
you know, it just depends on what angle you want to look at it.
So for those guys, so everyone watching,
Mm-hmm.
there's no cuts, there's no edits in this right now. So yeah, we're gonna mess up. You know, it's I guess it's kind of part of us really wanting to give you guys something authentic. So we're gonna mess up. You know, we might not might not be perfect that we say, but trust me, we're really trying to help everyone out and make a difference.
Yeah.
So. Where was I?
So we'll go back to the pizza.
Let's go back to the pizza.
We'll go to the pizza. You're hungry. You've announced that you have I'm hungry. That's the problem, right? So I have a piece of pizza. That's a solution. I'm offering it to you. Just come over here so we can have a talk real quick. Yeah. So you come over for that slice of pizza. Oh, that solves the problem. Suddenly you're gonna be more willing to listen to me. Be like, hey, are you still hungry? Well, I've got a whole buffet. Yeah. And then being all, but it's for like $5. That's kind of like actually what like a landing page is,
really,
and a tripwire. So basically, if you're out there, think about you hopefully know your audience really well. You've identified a problem that they have, and then you solve it for them for free. And again, I think this works really well for social entrepreneurs who are wanting to do well. And I think so many of us get into doing free labor for people that this is really natural of just being like, here, I'm going to actually help you out with the problem. But don't give it for free. Give it in exchange for information. So when someone
like emails,
yeah,
and stuff
email.
Like that,
I mean, I can't harp on more that you need to be able to capture emails. So once you offer a solution, like I think with Buff Twitch, I had one. It's a free ebook, strength training for activists, as like a solution to having issues with self-care. So then they gave me an email in exchange, and then they were in my email list. So then I could continue delivering them value throughout. So it's also like I'm able to continue giving them free content, free value throughout the process. And then if I have a sale, then I can also be able to deliver to them that way.
Yeah. And I know the really nice thing about the emails, and most people have probably heard it before, is that really once you get it, that's it. So it really comes down to like the metrics, your cost per leads, different stuff like that, which we really try to teach to the clients that we work with. But once you figure that out, and you know that, hey, it takes me, it costs me $2 to get a lead. If you're able to capture that email and you have them, you're able to connect to them all the time, which is you don't have to pay for them anymore. So you're able to connect with them and have this conversation, for as long as it takes, as long as you're providing value and stuff to them. And when it comes to marketing, I think it really comes down to that's it. Simple. It's you're having a conversation, you're becoming friends on a certain level, and then at one point you're gonna give them something in return for something. I mean, it's just like you're taking care of each other and stuff like that. So it's really important to get a conversation started, just like you would you walk up to a stranger. You're not gonna walk up to them and say, buy this, buy this, buy this, buy this. No, you're gonna say, hi, I'm so and so, can I help you? You look like you need something, let me help you out.
Yeah.
So really, if you keep that in mind, keep that conversation going, and just really try to help people out and do as much as you can for them. It's a lot of this, all these different tools and stuff like that. It becomes easier and easier to find out where they fit.
Yeah.
Into your whole marketing program and stuff.
Yeah, and I mean that's why I have so many people that I talk to who I'm like, do you have any mailing lists? Like, yeah, I haven't used it in a long time, and I'm like, this is actually a way for you to be able to continue to give value to people and also like build a relationship. And I think people don't realize that. I think a lot of, especially social entrepreneurs, they want to build that relationship, and they do build that relationship generally out on the field, like out working with people, out doing conferences and workshops and those type of things. But they don't think about that you can actually build those relationships online, and email is probably the best way for you to be able to build those relationships with people and be able to like give awesome free content to people, and then also be able to when you have things for sale, be able to sell them. And it's not really a sale, it becomes an exchange, because what you offer is so valuable to someone that they're like, okay, like I'm more than willing to exchange this money because what you're giving me in return is so much more valuable.
Yeah, and it's like I said, it's all value and stuff. When we're doing Now we look at Facebook and how are we able to really to get our value across to everyone. I mean, there's everything from posting from doing your posts to actually advertising, sponsored posts, all sorts of stuff like that. So right now it just so happens that Facebook is one of the hotter tools to use.
Yeah.
To be able to really connect with your audience, with your ideal audience, and give them content that's valuable to them. So and that's one of the reasons why I'm really pushing hard towards that, especially with the Facebook Live feature and just being able to just create such a great connection. I think with your customers that it's you have to be using it right now. I think you just absolutely have to be using it in your business. If you don't know how, find a way. Call me, call Pat, whatever. We'll figure it out.
Help you.
You have to. You have to be using it. It's so big.
You might as well just throw money out the window, or because I mean, really, it's losing out big time, especially when you're in a niche group like myself. As a trans person, for those who don't know, surprise. We walk among you. When you have like a niche group like an LGBTQ community, or specifically I have entrepreneurs or consultants around like some really niche stuff, like specifically like on I'll go with like a meet this like on being a survivor of child sexual abuse. Like you can't just like let me pull out a newspaper run article on that. Like that's just like throwing it out there. Like you can actually be able to target and reach a population that very rarely gets their needs spoken about publicly, and you're able to actually like get directly into their feed using Facebook. And that's like so powerful, specifically for my community and network, and who's really used to like honestly the LGBTQ community had things changed a lot when the internet came out, because suddenly the trans kid who lived in Iowa who could never connect to anyone now suddenly can connect to someone. So we're really used to using the internet to actually bridge the gaps of from where we're at geographically to be able to connect to each other. So especially as businesses, we should really also be uplifting each other's businesses too, and being able to work that way. So I can't go on enough how important specifically Facebook is for the survival of businesses like my own.
Yeah. So, I'll say thanks, Pat, for kind of showing up here. Drove a little ways to come be here, and so who are you looking for? This is the plug right here at the end. So who's your ideal client? Who are you looking for, and I guess what can you offer them?
Yeah, I mean specifically what I'm doing right now is I'm really trying to help my community. So I'm looking for you if someone's listening to this and you are that threw me off. Suddenly I saw this good-looking man in the back. Let me catch my breath for a moment. So I'm really looking for business folks that are, invested in actually causing social change, using their business as a platform. Whether that's, you're a coach, you're a consultant, you have a business that helps employ, especially if you have a business that employs queer and trans people of color. Because we're usually underrepresented in jobs. I'm really trying to help you develop that online platform, and so that you can more focus on doing the work that you really like, and I'll help handle creating more client acquisition for
you.
Yep. Is there more I should add?
Boom. No, I think that's pretty much it. So, a little bug flew by my face right now. All right, so once again, if you need help with that, have any questions stuff like that, definitely contact myself or Pat. If you have any comments, feel free to leave them in the little comment section. If it's
comments, concern, compliments, we take them all.
Definitely compliments. So that's it for today. Thanks for checking us out, and hopefully we'll have maybe a couple more of these.
Yeah, sounds good for me.
We'll see. All right, thanks a lot. Wait here, hold on. Let me give you the image by yourself. Boom.
There we go.
There you go. I probably should have put the .com on there.
Well, it's noflufffunnels.com.
Noflufffunnels.com.